This is Tim Worley with the Countdown Realty team at Keller Williams, and I wanted to do a quick update. We're here almost to May, and I wanted to give you an update on what's going on in the market. I've got 3 different articles to look at today that we're going to use to kind of gauge what's going on in the market. The first one's going to talk about the likelihood that there's going to be a crash or home prices declining in your area. Based on a lot of data from CoreLogic, which is one of the biggest MLS technology companies in the country. The second thing we're going to talk about is locally how many housing units have grown in different counties across the state and where we've seen housing inventory shrink the most. And the last one is going to talk a little bit about the luxury market in San Antonio, which has absolutely boomed in the last 2 or 3 years. Okay, so the first article I'm going to show you guys is it's from fortune.com, the odds of a housing price reduction hitting your local market with one interactive chart. I thought this was a really cool article. Talked about how interest rates are going up. The average interest rate as of this last month was 5.11%, whereas just last year it was 3.1%, and before that it was even lower, down below the 3s. So we've seen interest rates go up almost double in the last 2 years, although they were historically extremely low. The historic average interest rate is around 7.5%, so we're still below the average across the board. We're not really worried about that necessarily impacting the entire market, but it's certainly impacting a lot of borrowers who were already close to the top of their budget. Prices aren't coming down, demand is not coming down, but those homes, a home that was $500,000 at a 3.1% rate would have been $2,100 a month. Now that's $2,700 a month. So that's $600 going to the same house every single month, which definitely changes people's ability to repay and what else they can spend that money on. So money gets more expensive. People start to worry that we're going to see a dip. Now, if you look at this chart, you can see the odds of regional home prices dropping over the coming year. You have very low, low, medium, high, and elevated. Now, these elevated markets are probably where we saw the highest rates of increases: East Coast, West Coast, and Hawaii. High levels, you had some near Washington and looks like Nevada. It looks like Nevada and outside of California. Medium, again, those coastal areas where the home prices were already high. I mean, probably double what they are in Texas, and they got even higher over the last couple of years. It just makes sense that they're going to be the first ones to come down. Now, the lowest risks are spread out throughout the country, but you have some Midwest. California doesn't look like it's coming down anytime soon, low. And then you have very low. So across the southern part of the country, you have Florida, Texas, and then kind of sporadic throughout the South, which is where historically home prices have been low and stable. And in my opinion, where people have been migrating to for the last decade. Texas is all very low. And if you zoom in to our own, San Antonio, New Braunfels area, you can see that potential for the home price reduction is extremely low. So this should tell people who are afraid of buying because they're waiting for a crash, unless you're moving to one of these East Coast areas where there's a higher chance that the prices are coming down, don't expect a price reduction in Texas anytime soon. So the next thing we're going to talk about is housing unit growth and decline across Texas specifically. Really interesting that the majority of the state, over 54%, has seen housing unit decline. And this used census data that came out, was processed in 2020, and it just actually came through this last month. So we've seen a big decrease in the rural areas in the number of units and the number of people living there, and a huge increase in the Texas Hill Country, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, and Dallas as well. The biggest increase is Comal County, Hayes County, Williamson, and then Kendall County, Bexar County as well are right up there at 20% change in housing growth. So that's the number of people who are moving here. Obviously, this also will play a big role in how those prices are affected by a changing interest rate. It doesn't look like inventory crunch is going to change anytime soon. And the county I live in, Kendall County, made the top 10 with 30% recent change. Hayes had almost double the number of units available. So they went from 59,000 in 2010 to 93,000 in 2020. So huge number, huge amount of growth, up 57%. We're somewhere around 30%. And then the last article I want to talk about, which is interesting to me because San Antonio has never really been known for luxury home sales. Now, luxury used to be anything over 500,000. Now that number is pushing up and up. 700, 800,000 is no longer even considered a luxury home necessarily. You have to get to that seven-figure mark of $1 million price point. Now, back in 2018, and this is from the San Antonio Business Journal, in 2018, there were only, So back in 2018, there were only 210 homes, that's funny, 210 homes costing over $1 million sold in San Antonio and New Braunfels. That's across the whole MLS. Then we went from 211 to 287 in 2019 and 2020. That number in 2021 went up to 622 homes sold for over $1 million. Now, obviously, that had a big part. That had a lot to do with interest rates. So interest rates come down, home prices go up. You can afford more house, more people. Just demand went up, the whole 9 yards. Well, those home prices don't look like they're coming down anytime soon. The average down payment. Now, a lot of people. Typically, you would see more jumbo loans, low down payment jumbo loans to get those houses as they go up. But actually, the down payment was $350,000. So a lot of people were able to put 20% or more down on a house. Typically, what was happening, those $1 million homes were sold to people from other parts of the country where home values were already way up. They capitalized, they took a lot of that money out of in equity and moved into this area. So if you look at Texas versus like the $1 million price tag across the country, in San Jose, California, for instance, over 60% homes sold fell into this category. So 60% of all homes in California were over $1 million, whereas in San Antonio, 622 homes really represents less than 10%, or actually around 20% of all the homes sold. Sometimes we'll have, 6,000 homes sold, 3,000 homes sold, 5,000 homes sold. At any one month recently, we're looking at only about 3,000 homes sold per month. And in January, that number was down even to like 1,500, just again, because of low housing inventory. So we are still seeing multiple offers over asking, even in the $1 million price range. Just recently, we put in an offer for a home that was around $700,000. We went $75,000 over the asking price, still didn't get it. There were 4 offers over $100,000 over the asking price. That's right here in Fair Oaks in North Bexar County, Kendall County. That trend seems to be the case. Whereas we used to see luxury homes typically sit on the market for anywhere between 60, 90, 100 days was actually pretty common. Now even luxury homes are selling in the 30 and 40 day range. Average days on market, if you look at the last couple months, down into the low double digits, like 20, 25. And that's really just a function. That's about as fast as you can get a home off the market, is a matter of days because of the option periods. So if you wanted to make a very competitive offer right now, you have to have no inspection period, pay cash over the appraisal and over the asking price. You would need to drop your appraisal contingency totally, as well as close as fast as possible. If you can do cash, obviously that's going to be a big advantage. If you're not paying cash, you will need to pay more than the cash offers to stay competitive. The other thing is, on average now we're seeing people put in, closer to 10 offers before they get one under contract, whereas it used to be somewhere around 4 or 5 is what I would tell my clients. So we're seeing 5, 10 offers, and sometimes it helps to actually put those offers in all at the same time and just try to see what you get accepted if you're really motivated to find a house. So San Antonio's market still very strong, still low inventory, still a lot of demand, and I don't think we're going to see that trend change anytime soon. So if you guys want any more data, you want to know what your home's worth, give me a shout. I'm happy to assist and do that for you guys. And then again, this is Tim with Countdown Realty Team at Keller Williams, and I look forward to talking to you.